Great. Well, afternoon, everyone. Great to be here. Here to tell you the story of Oklo. This photo we're looking at here is actually from last Monday when we started drilling back in Mali. There's a wet season in West Africa from sort of July, August, September, and we've just announced on Monday that we're back in there drilling, and I'll run you through the drilling program and what we're up to in country. We're exploring among giants. There's some very big mines in Mali itself, and I'll run you through those and really our key strategies over the next 6 months. The presentation is on our website and released to the ASX today if you'd like to have a further look. A summary of what we've been up to the last 2.5 years. We believe we've made two discoveries of two rather large gold systems. We've got, whoops, go back one. We've got about 1,400 square kilometres of ground in Mali, in both South Mali and West Mali, but really all we're working on is our West Mali projects. In here you can see the Dandoko project, which is pretty much what I'll talk about today for most of the presentation. A discovery we made about 2 years ago. Very good grades, very good widths, and we're looking for a big system. As I said on Monday, we've just announced that resource drilling has kicked off again and metallurgical test work, which we hope to complete and have a resource out to market early next year, probably beginning of Q2 next year. And I'll run you through that program shortly. The other discovery we've made is at Koroofing this year. Again, first pass drilling, sort of 40-metre hits of gold from surface. And we've earned our interest there. We now own that project 100%. And I'll show you one slide on that as we go through. On the corporate side, whoops, we're capped at about $40 million. We've got plenty of cash. We've got about $9.5 million in the bank. We've got some fantastic shareholders. About 45% of the shareholder base is institutional, with BlackRock out of the UK as our major shareholder. Resolute Mining have just over 9% of us. 1832 out of Toronto, and more recently Ruffer Gold Fund out of the UK has come onto the register with just over 5%. We've got a great team, very small, nimble team, but lots of experience. Mark Connolly, former Managing Director of Papillon, which made the Fekola discovery, which sits about 30 kilometres to the west of our project. And Andrew Boyd, who was also General Manager at Papillon running their exploration, is our General Manager for exploration. So we've got a great team, lots of experience in country. Our project base, as I said, we've got, there's 500 square kilometres here. We started with the Dandoko project about 2.5-3 years ago, and since then have acquired some other highly prospective areas. The main geological feature here is this black line you can see in the centre of the map, which is the Senegal-Mali Shear, and a lot of the big deposits. Fekola sits here. The Tabakoto resource, 3.8 million ounces, sits here in Gungoko. They sit on these northeast splays, which are secondary splays off this main shear zone. We have northeast splays running through our project, and as I said, our discoveries, which I showed you in the first slide, are just sitting in the middle of this project. We've also just had the Candiole project here granted to us. That's about 110 square kilometres, and it's sitting within 5 kilometres of both Boto, which is just almost 3 million ounces, and Fekola, which is 7 million ounces. And very, very little work's been done on that project at all. So it's a very underexplored belt. It's got some very big projects in it, and that's really the prize for Oklo, is to look for a very big system. Infrastructure's very good as well. This black line you can see running through the top of our project is the main sealed highway running from Bamako, the capital, all the way across to the border. This is the Senegal border here. There's IAMGOLD sit to the south of us with about 5 million ounces of resources. Operating mine here. Barrick's Gungoko mine sits up here. It's about 5 million ounces, and Tabakoto is to the north. So good infrastructure. There's plenty available rigs, and it's a friendly jurisdiction for mining. We're in the right area. We've got the right characteristics as far as our drilling to date. Just a snapshot of some of our core. This is the Oklo Seco discovery. This is the Gungoko Barrick core, and this is Fekola. Very similar in alteration as far as albite, sericite, carbonate, pyrite mineralisation. Same host rocks. We're looking at sort of turbidite sediments, mass flow breccias. And looking at our core, we're more like the Gungoko project of Barrick, more brittle deformation, whereas Fekola is more of a ductile shear, but same mineralisation, same host rocks, and that's what we're chasing is a large system. So looking at Dandoko, which is our flagship project, what you're looking on the right here is an image of gold, max gold in hole from auger drilling. What we did about 3 years ago was cover the entire tenement with auger drilling. Average hole depth's about 12 metres, so it's a bit like soil sampling, but rather than soil sampling, you're actually punching through the soil and the laterite into the top of saprolite. And then we model that up, and we have a string of anomalies that sit over about a 12-kilometre trend here. And as I said earlier, they're running in this northeast orientation, which is the preferred orientation off those main splays. So we came into Seco, and really we drilled Seco first because this is where we started the auger program. We got these results first, and that's where we've made our first discovery on the belt. We've got very good gold from surface, very good grades. We've done some initial metallurgy, bottle roll versus fire assay test work, which has come in well, and I'll show you a slide on that shortly. Most of the mineralisation is from surface, so very good open cut potential. But it's still early days. I mean, 80% of our drilling is still less than 100 metres deep, and only 2% of our drilling is below 200 metres. So lots of work to do, but you can see there's a whole string of anomalies down through here, which the only one we've tested is, other than Seco, is Selenguma. We had some results from there the other day, and we've already got a couple of holes into this Jabiru area. So we'll have a look at Seco now. These are the shaded colour there is the auger trend that we were talking about, with a grams metres plot on top with our drilling to date. And probably a bit hard to see some of the grades from where you are, but you know, big system. This is 2 kilometres long. This is what we call SK1. There's about 100 metres of oxide sitting here before we get into fresh rock. SK2, which is this zone here, some terrific grades, and it's about 400 metres long, and we've hit some mineralisation just to the north of SK2, and I'll show you a long section of that area shortly. And we just announced a metallurgical hole from SK2 2 days ago that hit 50 metres at 3.99 grams. I'm not sure why the guys couldn't turn that into 4 grams, but it was 3.99 grams, which was great from surface. And the other area we've got here is SK3, which is on this side. So what we're doing in the next 6 months is we've just started a 10,000 metre drilling program, and we're going to wrap a resource around this area. And we're going to aim for grade. We're going to aim for plus 2 gram resource here. And at the same time, we're going to be doing our met work. We've got 3 samples, oxide, transition and fresh rock, all being sent to ALS this week in Perth, and Lycopodium is going to be looking after that work for us. Some leapfrog modelling of what we've got to date. You can see these trends that I just showed you and the drilling traces. You can see the gap here in the drilling between SK2 north and the southern area. And if we have a look at a long section through that area, this is the SK2 southern area. There's no drilling other than 1 line of holes between SK2 and SK2 north. So these are the sorts of things we're going to be chasing up in our resource work. Does this all link up? Not sure. Only time will tell with drilling, but some really nice grades in this area. Looking at a cross section through here, you can see the metallurgical hole that we drilled the other day. As I said, there's 50 metres there at just about 4 grams. But we're also getting this is the oxide boundary through here. So very, very amenable to open cut, gold from surface, and good metallurgy, as I said. We're getting some good hits as well down into the fresh rock, and the prize for us is really to get onto a big feeder zone in the fresh rock, which is like the Fekola story. Fekola is a plunging chute It's about 40 metres by 40 metres, going about 5 to 6 grams, and half the metal is in that chute, and that ore body's now over 7 million ounces. So it's about getting onto these chutes and chasing them into the fresh rock. But we're getting some good numbers in the fresh rock. We've got 46 metres here at 4 grams, and another hole here. This hole actually goes off section, and we've got over 50 metres of mineralisation. So good wide hits of mineralisation, good grade. We're not chasing narrow quartz veins under artisanal workings. We're really chasing for a big system. Some of the early met work that we did last year, we're getting sort of anywhere from 98 to 95, 94% recoveries in initial bottle roll versus fire assay work. And as I said, we're now going to more of a scoping style test work with our met, and that's all heading off to being all the samples are being shipped off to Perth this week. What does it look like? You could be in Western Australia here. It's fairly flat, fairly open. This is the rig on Monday, as I said, just kicking off our new program. And as I said, that main road passes through our project that you saw on an earlier slide, and you literally turn off that main road, and our camp is about 2 kilometres down the road, and then another 2 kilometres onto the Seiko area. So news flow wise, what are we doing in the next 6 months? There's 2 phases going on. There's the resource drilling, which I've mentioned, and the metallurgical test work, which is going to be done in conjunction with stage 2, which is looking for more volume. So we're going to wrap some numbers around after this initial drilling about what we know now at Seco, and then we'll flow straight into more diamond RC work, chasing those anomalies that you saw along that belt. And we're fully funded. We've got, as I said, about $9.5 million in the bank. So we're well funded to continue our work well into next year. And hopefully it's an exciting time for us as we look for this tier 1 asset. And adding volume is going to come from things like this area. This is the Seco anomalies that I just showed you. These are the other anomalies, which are literally a kilometre and a half north and south of Seco, but already some interesting grades. There's 44 metres there at 5, there's 44 metres here at 1.4, all again very shallow, but you can see very little work's been done. This is a new discovery. We're the first company that's come into this area and drilled these holes. So we've got a lot of work to do. Other possibilities for us to add volume as we move down the track and into development, things like Selangooma, Jabiru, again, 28 metres at 3, 6 at 50, and also the Lamona project, which we put some holes into at the end of the last field season. Very good grades, 2 metres at 15, lots to chase, which will add volume to that initial resource, which we're looking to put together early next year. Community development, we've done work with the local villages. We recently put a water well in for the local village. This soccer field now has grass all over it after the wet season. This was taken a few months ago. But importantly, we're doing things with the community over there. We have a very good in-country country manager who's on our board, a technical director, Madani Diallo, was a very well-accomplished geologist. He was BHP's exploration manager for Africa for 10 years, based out of London, so very, very well connected into the government. And Madani was the one who put the projects together, so we're well respected in the community and got good links into the government. So really summing up, we're building on a strong 2018, 2019 as we move into this 2020 field season. Our prime objective is to outline this initial resource at Seco and wrap some numbers around that. We're going to aim for grade rather than ounces. We want to really aim for that plus 2 gram ore body here in Mali. We've got a very big land position and we've got a fantastic team. And I've got 5 seconds, so that's me. Thank you.
Thanks for that. That's awesome.